So my top games of 2023 are all going to be games that came out in 2023. It was a crazy year for games, as everybody knows. Just going to throw it out there that Zelda Tears of the Kingdom is not going to be on my list. I want to say a couple of little shout outs or honorable mentions would be Lies of P and Blasphemous 2. Those are two games that I feel like are like 100% Marvel type games that I would completely love if I had gotten around to playing them, but I just didn't. Octopath Traveler 2 and Dredge. These were two games that I did play. I played a decent amount, but just not enough. Those are my four kind of honorable mentions. I have a top 12. Number 12 is F-Zero 99. It's like a Tetris 99 style, Super Nintendo style F-Zero online multiplayer game on the Switch Online. Number 11, I have Pikmin 4. I did an experience share on this one. I really liked it, but the auto lock and aiming mechanics kind of hurt it a lot for me. And then number 10, I have Starfield, which is a game that obviously has a lot of faults and it's stuck in the past in a lot of ways, but I still have been having a lot of fun with it. I think what is there is very good, and I think that Bethesda is obviously going to keep working on the game, adding new content, adjusting a lot of the stuff that feels very clunky in it currently. So it's a game I know I'm going to keep playing for quite a long time. And then, let's see, number 9, I have Theater Rhythm Final Bar Line. I've been having a ton of fun playing this game. It's like a Final Fantasy music rhythm game. I never played any of them on the 3DS. It's my first foray into it and freaking loving the game. Number 8 is Mario Wonder, a game I beat. I really liked it. I would love to play some of the multiplayer on it. I have not had a chance to do that yet. But I was hoping to maybe get a chance before doing this list, but just didn't get around to it. Mario Wonder, very good game. 7 is Street Fighter 6. I love Street Fighter 6. I've played over 100 online matches in Street Fighter 6. I have not even touched the create a character kind of mode where you're running around the city and just punching people at random, challenging them to fights. Have not tried that at all. All I've done is the multiplayer, but it's so good. The art style is great. The music is awesome. The whole aesthetic and vibe of it is amazing. The online rollback netcode and everything works so well. The accessibility with the new modern controls versus the classic controls, it's just like the best of both worlds. Really good game. Love Street Fighter 6. Number 6, I have Diablo 4, a game I also did an experience share on with Judy. Diablo 4 is great. I beat it, and I have not really gone back to it though recently, just because there's been so many games. For like season 2 or any of that, I do plan to go back to it again soon, but Diablo 4, having a lot of fun with that one. 5 is Space for the Unbound. Judy's talked about this game in a couple of videos already, but Space for the Unbound is a really cool pixel art kind of story-driven game. I don't know what it would be considered. It's a little bit of like it's okay, if you ever played Night in the Woods, it's very similar to that. Got a lot of emotional depth to it. Beautiful art. Has more game mechanics than Night in the Woods does, where there's like fighting combat that happens in it that is a little bit like a rhythm game almost, but really good. Space for the Unbound. And then right above that, I have at number 4, Gran Turismo VR. So Gran Turismo came out obviously like last year, I think, but the VR mode came out just in this year. And there's a lot I could say about this game, but I'm just kind of trying to do this off the cuff. But man, in VR, it is absolutely amazing. To me, it is the killer app on the PS2 VR right now. Just being able to feel like you're actually sitting inside of a car like a Lamborghini or something, and you can like look around at the seats next to you, all the dashboard and everything. It's all like 100% accurate. You can turn around, look behind, and see the back seats and everything. While you're racing, you can like turn your head and like look out behind you and see the road behind and the cars coming behind you. And all the real-time weather effects that happen, like you'll be partway through a race and like a storm will come through. It's freaking amazing. In VR, it's like, I think it's like one of the coolest, most video game like fantasy wish fulfillment type games that I've ever experienced. It's freaking amazing. And then number 3 is a game that we just beat a few days ago. It's Remnant 2. So Judy, Hiroshi, and I all played this as 3-player co-op multiplayer, and we're completely addicted to it. It took us around 42 to 44 hours to beat the main campaign, the main story one time, but that's not at all what the point of the game is. And then last night we played it again for I think around 10 hours straight. Judy actually played it for longer than that. Because she was playing before Hiroshi and I jumped on. But that's even after beating it. Just last night we played it for like at least 10 hours straight on top of that. Like a real brief overview of the game to kind of maybe try and sell someone on it is that it's kind of it's like a 3-player co-op roguelite Dark Souls with guns and Diablo elements to it. Freaking phenomenal. It's so good. There's so much depth, so much replayability. Man, this game I feel like is the #1 game that is getting, as far as like AA and AAA type stuff, not talking about like indie stuff, but like AA, AAA type stuff. I think this is the #1 most overlooked game of this entire year of 2023. Whenever I do see people online talking about it, they are talking very positively about it, but I am not seeing it on like any of the big outlets like Games of the Year, top 10s or anything, and it is easily a top 10 of this year. I mean, for me it's a top 3, but I feel like it should be on like damn near every top 10 that there is. Phenomenal game. Love it. Planning on playing probably another 100 hours at least. And then number 2 is Armored Core 6. Absolutely love Armored Core 6. It hit really hard for me. The very first game I ever owned on the original PlayStation was the first Armored Core game, and then this was kind of my chance to finally get back into the series. And I don't think I've ever felt like more of a badass than when playing Armored Core 6. It's truly fantastic. Any other year, I think Armored Core 6 would have been my game of the year. Again, I could talk about it forever, but I'm trying to keep the list short, and my number 1 is Baldur's Gate 3. Anyone who knows me knows that this is like, when we're talking about Marvel type games, this is like the ultimate Marvel type game. I've been a fanboy for Baldur's Gate 1 and 2 and Divinity Original Sin and Pillars of Eternity and Dragon Age Origins, all those types of games since I very first discovered them, like, I don't even know, 10 or 12 or 15 something years ago. As far as just regular games that aren't like MMOs or multiplayer focused games, Baldur's Gate 2 might be the game that I've put the most time into in my entire life, not counting maybe Pokemon. I've played it so many times with so many different mods. Fantastic, amazing game. And then Divinity Original Sin 2, if you look, I did a video about this one a long time ago saying it was one of the 10 best games of the past decade, and somehow Baldur's Gate 3 makes that game look small in comparison. It's kind of amazing. I don't know. I could talk about Baldur's Gate 3 for probably an entire hour and still have a lot to say about it, but it represents everything I think that is like the example of the ideal way that video games could turn out versus like microtransactions and just awful pricing models and games coming out in unfinished states and all this. Obviously Baldur's Gate, they've been doing lots of patches and things with it, but it's all to just make the game better. It's amazing. And the fact that it has the multiplayer mode, and the multiplayer is probably the best multiplayer of the entire year on top of that. I could really go on and on, but Baldur's Gate 3 is like Larian Studios proving that EA was wrong to spend all this time convincing BioWare to get away from doing the types of games that everybody fell in love with them for in the first place, and driving them more and more towards the action-focused type stuff that they're doing now, where they're struggling and trying to figure out what went so horribly wrong. And Larian is just here to say, this is what went wrong, and they hit it huge. Like, this was a very well received, mainstream, made a insane impact, and this is like, this type of game is like the most, like, I feel like most of my life we've been getting told that this is not the type of game that has mainstream appeal, and somehow it came out and just had mainstream appeal beyond anything, and it's just, there's not enough words to say to heap praise onto Baldur's Gate 3. But that's it. That's my top 12.
Do you have a most anticipated game of 2024?
Ooh, okay. Final Fantasy VII Rebirth is definitely there. I have a top 3. So it's Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. That's the only one that's been officially announced. And then the other 2 is Elden Ring, Shadow of the Earth Tree.
Don't say Silksong. It's not coming.
And the other one is Silksong. Silksong is coming this year, baby.
It's not coming.
It's coming.
It doesn't exist.
It's finally happening.
No.
Silksong. Man, those
you
three
and
games.
Celeste can dream.
if those 3 games come out this year,
This is your year.
if I were talking about like a top 10 games of the decade, Final Fantasy VII Remake, Hollow Knight, and Elden Ring are 3 of my personal like top 10s, and to have like sequels or expansions on each one of on all of those this year, oh man, what a year if that happens.
Hello. I am going to talk about my top 3 games of 2023. I didn't really play any games that released that year, but I played other games that I really enjoyed. So, number 3 on my list is probably going to be Ghost Trick. I finished that game in a week. It was very fun to play. The music is excellent. I also think a lot of the designs for puzzles and stuff are very clever, and I enjoyed figuring them out. Yeah, so that's number 3. Number 2 would be not Virtue's Last Word. 999, otherwise known as 9 Hours, 9 Persons, 9 Doors. It's kind of like an escape room puzzle type game. I really enjoyed the twists and stuff in the game, and just like solving the puzzles in general. I feel like I like puzzle games. Overall, they're very enjoyable to me. And the characters in the game were also fairly like interesting. Probably Santa was my favorite character in the game. And I just like the relationships between everyone. Not to get much into it because spoilers, but yeah, that's number 2. And number 1 is Hollow Knight. Hollow Knight is now one of my favorite games of all time. I've been replaying it recently.
I honestly would have never guessed.
Yeah. I don't like Hollow Knight, actually.
Oh.
JK. But yeah, it is probably my favorite game of all time now. Recently, I've been playing it again because I am very close to 100%ing the game on Steam. So I have to speedrun it and do all the really hard runs and stuff to get the achievements. Today, actually, I beat the game under 20 hours and 100%ed it. So that was really cool, which is why I'm wearing him as a
trophy.
Yeah, as a trophy. But yeah, that is my number 1 game of 2023. And I have some runner-ups, I guess, that I've played that I also enjoyed. Pizza Tower. Pizza Tower, I never finished it, but I was playing it for a bit, and it was really enjoyable. And also the music in that game as well is really good. They recently put out a vinyl for pre-order, and it looks like pizza, and I plan on getting it soon. Another one would be Yoshi's Woolly World. That one I'm very close to beating, but I got the game when we went to Pure GE and kind of played it since then. I think the one thing that draws me to it is just the yarn and just like the art in the game in general, just because like I crochet, so it's like a really big interest of mine. And another one I would like to mention is Blasphemous. Blasphemous is another Metroidvania. I only played one. I had like some issues with it, like mobility and platforming is kind of hard in that game, which is like, you can ignore it, but sometimes it's very noticeable. But the art and just the aesthetic of it is very phenomenal. Anyways, yeah, that is my top games of 2023.
Is there anything you're excited for in 2024 that stands out to you? No.
Hopefully Silk Song. But who knows? That's probably not going to come out. Maybe. I don't know. We'll see.
Cool. So I have a small little list here. I'm going to go over probably 3 or 4 of them. So for games that I played this year, the past couple weeks or so, Judy, Marvel, and myself have been playing Remnant 2. We'll probably talk about that more so in another video, but it's a lot of fun. It's a lot of like co-op shenanigans, and I chose a for my character, I chose like the kind of the sniper sharpshooter archetype, and I really like just aiming down sights and just shooting the weak points and getting really large damage numbers. It's really fun. So we'll talk about that one in another video, I think. Another game I played, Sonic Superstars. That's probably the one game that came out this year that I actually played through and completed. It was a lot of fun. I kind of want to try local co-op with it, just because usually local co-op in Sonic is like Sonic zips away and then Tails just keeps chasing after Sonic, and player 2 usually doesn't get a chance. But with Sonic Superstars, it seems like everyone can kind of actually play the game instead of Sonic just zipping by and everyone else just kind of holding the controller and kind of going, oh, okay, I guess this is fun. The Etrian Odyssey HD Remastered Collection, I picked that up. I need to play more of it because how do you say it? I usually set the difficulty a little bit higher than normal on games that I try to play through, and I keep getting my butt kicked. I'm still on like the 4th or 5th floor, and one of the mini bosses that you can run into, they have movement patterns so you can dodge them, but I kind of want to try and beat them, but I keep running into it and I keep getting my butt kicked, and the cycle repeats. What else? So I'll blast through these next ones pretty quickly. So there's 2 games on Sega Saturn I played this year. They're both from the same developer, Game Arts. One's Yumi Mix Remix, and the other one is Dyna Island or Dinosaur Island. They're both like interactive storybook kind of games, and it kind of plays out like you're essentially watching a story, and then every so often you get to choose different dialogue options, and they lead to different endings. The art style is really cute, and there are I think there's a fan translation for Yumi Mix Remix. I don't know about Dino Island, but yeah, if you have the chance to like buy the game or just experience the fan translated patch, it's really good. What else is here? Graze Counter. So this one I played on Steam. It's a shmup, but it's called Graze Counter because there's a really cool mechanic where usually in shmups you want to stay like, you don't want to get hit by the bullets, but in Graze Counter it kind of rewards you for just having the bullets like shoot right by your ship and kind of graze your ship. You get it charges a super meter, and then so the bullets graze your ship, you charge your super meter, and then you just fire lasers at the enemies. It's a really cool mechanic, and it kind of rewards you for playing it a little bit dangerously. The last one I'm going to talk about is Gal Guardians or Grim Guardians. There's a weird name change in there somewhere, but it's cool.
I think US it's Gal Guardians.
Yeah, I think so. But yeah, it's cool. It's a spin-off of Galgun, which is another game. I'm not going to talk about it, but it plays like a linear Castlevania game, and you can in the middle of combat hot swap between 2 characters. So you have Shinobu's the one who has the one sec. Anti-demon machine gun. There we go. And it's kind of funny when she shoots her machine gun. Sometimes she'll say anti-demon machine gun, but you hear that all the time in the game, so it just kind of gets repetitive to hear it. But so you have a long-range character, and then you have Maya, who has her scythe, I think, and then she has I think she has kind of like a shield. She'll like summon like origami swans to kind of surround her and help her. Really cool game. The combat is really fun, and the game's pretty gory and bloody, which is kind of a departure from Galgun, which is really just a goofy game. So you go from this goofy sort of lighthearted game to this game with just a lot of blood, and the bosses can get kind of gory. It's wild. But that's what I've played this year so far. Looking forward to playing more games this year.
What are you looking forward to in 2024 in terms of games? Yeah. Is there anything big for you?
Not yet. I usually don't follow recent releases all that much. The VR space has kind of gotten really stagnant. I really want to see something happen with VR, because I really do miss playing. Just kind of like experimenting and just playing in VR. It's a lot of fun, but it kind of seems like everything is just really stale in the VR market at the moment. So I want to see something happen.
Alright, game devs, take note. Hero wants more VR. Give him what he wants.
I think the closest thing...
Make Half-Life Alyx 2.
Half-Life Alyx 2. The closest thing that I've had recently to a game that's just blown me away in VR, Project Wingman VR. I freaking love planes a lot, and being in a plane cockpit in VR, it's really cool. Someone recommended VTOL VR for me, and I need to pick that game up. But I also need to learn what all the switches and stuff in the cockpits do, because otherwise I'll probably end up just ejecting myself out of the plane right on the runway. So we'll see how it goes.
Alright, thanks, Hero.
Yeah.
Hello, my name's Ocean. I'm going to give you my top 3 games that I played in 2023. These are just games that I played. So, number one, probably my favorite game, yeah, okay. I was disappointed when I didn't have this on a list before, because one of my favorite games is probably Inscription, and I did beat it. Kind of a crazy game. I would recommend playing it knowing as little as possible, except maybe just know that it's a deck building roguelike game. My jaw was on the floor multiple times. It's just like, and it's like a point where you're like, okay, like when is this going to end? But I think they ended it at just like the perfect time, because if they went a little bit longer, I think I would have been like, okay, I'm done with playing this game. But they had it like just the right amount. Then I have Moonlighter. I think this year I was kind of introduced to roguelikes in general. I think roguelikes in general I just started liking. That started with Cult of the Lamb.
I think you did play Hades too, didn't you?
Yeah, and then I played Hades because they were like, Cult of the Lamb is like Hades, and then I played Hades. I didn't finish Hades. Brittany's finished Hades. Brittany just finished Hades. Congratulations. Yes! Congratulations, yeah. Hell yeah. Because I remember you had that one run and I was like, she's gonna get it this time, and then you did not, and then you just like stopped streaming, and I was like, damn it. But no, you got it.
Of course I got it the time that I was not streaming.
I know.
It was the first time too. It was the first try.
You're like, just a practice run. Just a practice run. Yeah, no. So the roguelikes this year have just been like going crazy. Yeah, because Cult of the Lamb is also one. Hades, yeah, Moonlighter is a roguelike too. Yeah, just like dungeon crawling and collecting things and going back to like a base. It's just so nice. It's like a cozy little feeling. So Moonlighter I beat a couple days ago. Really good. That last boss like had me on my ass for like, yeah, I had to literally stop playing for like a month, and then I was like, okay, I can do this. And then all I had to do was the final boss, and then it was just credits, and I was like, cool, I'll just never look at it again. And then my last one was Professor Layton, but I think as a whole, as like a holistic game, Professor Layton, I played the first 3, and then I started on, oh yeah, okay, so honorable mention to just puzzle games in general this year. I think I was just on that. Yeah, I think now when people like think about the games that I like, it's usually they'll recommend like a puzzle game, because I really do like puzzle games. And I just started Catherine Full Bodied upon Brittany's recommendation. That's also a puzzle game, and that's good too. So I think winners for roguelikes this year and winning for puzzle games this year. Professor Layton, perfect. Ace Attorney, perfect. Like, yeah, I just love it. I love. And that's all.
That's all?
Yeah.
Did you have a favorite of the Layton games, or are they just like great to experience altogether?
I think my favorite, okay, you know what? The Ace Attorney and Professor Layton crossover is kind of insane. I've not finished it yet, but even just like, yeah, the little like visuals that they give you, and I think it's the perfect mix of both, like the court and like the judge sequences, and then also like the mystery sequences with like Layton and Luke. Like, yeah, so good. And then for just like regular Professor Layton games, probably I really like Diabolical Box. Yeah.
Is that the third?
I think it's the second one. Yeah. Unwound Future is really good too, though. But both of those made me cry. But Unwound Future, the end of Unwound Future, like I was sobbing for days.
Oh.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm surprised that the stories get so emotional in the puzzle game.
Right? No. Yeah. Like, yeah. Not to spoil anything, but he takes off his hat at one point, and so that like just like killed me. He never takes off his hat. It killed me. Anyway.
All right, and then most anticipated game of 2024.
The Apollo Justice trilogy.
I know, that's like a week.
I know, yeah, no, I'm so excited because I didn't get to play it on the 3DS, and I know that like 2 of them were like exclusively just on the
eShop here. Yeah. Good pick.
Thanks.
Thank you.
So we're going over our top games that we played in 2023. I'm gonna throw out some honorable mentions because, frankly, I did beat a lot of games. I was in school. Starting off, Tears of the Kingdom, very good game. I played about 10 hours of it. I really liked it, really enjoyed it. It was really good. The crafting mechanics, I like. Baldur's Gate in terms of like runner-ups, really good game. The dialogue is insane. If I were to choose like a 2023 game of the year, Like, I know it's the most cliche thing in the world, but Baldur's Gate would be my choice. Just the sheer amount of choices and voice acting and story and things you can do and characters you can meet and interact with is incredible. In terms of like a 4-player co-op party experience, it's probably one of the best, most in-depth things if you can get a group to stick together for that long, which I think is the real challenge of Baldur's Gate. I've only played 4-player co-op. I haven't even done a single-player campaign, so I would definitely like to do that, but it's a runner-up because I haven't beat it. At number 3 would be Mario Wonder, which is probably the only 2023 game that I actually beat. It's really fun. I played it co-op with my husband. It's really cute. I am not gonna lie, I'm not very good at 2D platforming games. I'm not good at Metroidvanias. I'm not good at just regular action platformers, but I do love Mario Wonder. I loved the music. I loved all of the little guys. I loved the character animations are just so like toy-like. It almost like makes me think of Little Big Planet and like how I felt playing that as a kid. I love it. It's just creative. It's a really creative and fun take on the 2D Mario series. It's not very hard, which is something that I liked. I feel like if you're trying to get somebody into that genre, like that would be the perfect entry point. Second game on my list is God of War Ragnarok. 2022 game, but I didn't beat it until early 2023. Ragnarok is an amazing experience. The story and everything, like, I didn't think that God of War 2018 could be any better, and then Ragnarok came out, and the story just feels so tightly woven, and I kept wanting to play, but the combat is just fantastic. You get your Chaos Blades back in that one, so you get your Chaos Blades and your axe, and there's weapons that you can swap in and out and kind of mix up your style. There's like different climbing mechanics that you can use your weapons for. The game is beautiful, just an absolutely stunning game. The monster fights, everything is so great. The action is fantastic. And number 1, unsurprisingly, is The Last of Us Part 1. I played it, not the PC version, so not a 2023 release, once again. It was released the year before. It took me a little bit to get a PS5. I actually only got a PS5 recently. One of my 2 favorite games of all time. Getting to go through it again was a treat, and playing it again was a treat. It's definitely not as magical the first time around, but it's so polished, and it is definitely like the definitive way to play. The graphics and everything are beautiful. I already thought the game before looked beautiful, but moving it into the engine or the same sort of graphical style as Part 2 is just really, it's a really cool experience, and if you're a huge fan of the game, like I consider it well worth the upgrade. If you've never played it, that's definitely the way that I would want to experience it for the first time in the 2020s. The music, the scores, everything, it was just great to play. There's a lot of new skins to kind of mix up your gameplay. I like The Last of Us Part 1, and another cool experience was that my younger brother who was visiting me, we started a playthrough together, and it was cool to see. One of my favorite things about that game is I've made a lot of friends and like formed a lot of connections with people through playing it and lending my copy out to people. So it was cool having that experience, 10 years after the original with this port, where I'm showing it to somebody else for the first time, and they're kind of seeing it and seeing the story beats and watching them jaw drop at moments where, I remember going through that exact same feeling myself. So those are my top games of 2023. Just kidding. My number 1 pick for 2023? The Sonic Murder Mystery game. Why? Because me and my friends committed to voice acting the entire thing, and that game is so much longer than you would expect, and for being a freebie on Steam that was released as a joke, it is so great. The art style is great, the music's great, the dialogue is goofy, and it's a lot of fun. Play it with other people.
Hey, how's it going, everybody? Here talking about my 2023 best games.
Yeah.
All right, so I get number 1. I'll probably, just because it comes like straight into the top of my head, is Resident Evil 4 Remake. That game was perfect. I very much enjoyed playing the original. Didn't play it on GameCube, but I played it on mostly every other console. Had fun with it. The remake is absolutely fantastic. I think I replayed that like 3 times.
Did you platinum it?
I did not platinum it, but it is really fun going every single time. The parrying with the knife is really, really fun. Plus, unlocking all the weapons is really cool too. And the game all around is like solid. I love the Resident Evil remakes, and Resident Evil 4 was like, can't wait for RE5 or Code Veronica, whichever one that they end up coming up with. After that, not a game that came out in 2023, but I beat it again since like childhood. Legend of Zelda Minish Cap.
Yeah.
I beat it for the first time when I was like 12, and went back around and beat it again last year. That game still holds up. That's probably my number one Zelda game of all time. But I love the Game Boy Advance. I love Zelda. That game is just absolutely like so charming. Love it. Every single bit of it. The art style and the little pixel art and all that, fantastic. And probably Inscription is another game that I finished last year. That one took a couple of tries. It's a very short game, not too long. It's a roguelike card game on the Switch, PS4, Steam, whatever. We played it on Switch. Very, very fun. Love that game. There's quite a couple of twists. The style of the game is very, very unique, and I love it. I think it's one. If you've not played Inscription, definite, like one of my top recommendations. Spider-Man 2. Everyone played Spider-Man 2. Everybody has an opinion on Spider-Man 2. The game's great. Venom was awesome. I love Kraven. The gameplay was very smooth, and can't wait for DLC. And Logan, that's coming out.
That's I'm super stoked for that.
Yeah, so very much looking forward to that. So those are my 2023 games that I beat.
Is there do you have a big one for 2024 that you're looking forward to?
Persona 3 Reload.
That's a good pick.
I cried at the end of the original because that game is so freaking good. I hope they do it justice.
I hope so too.
I love Persona 3. I'm looking forward to that very much.
It's a good one. It's a good one that they're porting.
Yeah.
All right. Thanks, Jorge.
No problem.
My top games for 2023. I'm only gonna do 3, just to make it nice and short and sweet, and kind of gives me time to kind of reflect on the games that I love the most during that time period, and think back on. Kirby's Return to Dreamland Deluxe, which was a remake of a Wii game. It was my first experience being able to experience Kirby or this game for the first time, and I had such a blast with it. I didn't know what to expect, other than it's a Kirby game, so the difficulty is definitely going to be on the bit of the easier side, but I thought it was great. I think what makes this Kirby game stand out so much in comparison to other Kirby games is the mini games, and being able to play with other people, which is what I did when playing this, was super fun. It actually, I think, heightened my enjoyment playing the game. The mini games, playing with other people, the boss battles, which were sometimes easier, but they had scale to be a lot harder. I would say the ending for me was definitely, it kind of just blew my socks off. I was not expecting the ending. It had, like, it was kind of over the top in the best way possible. And there is an epilogue to the game that I just had not gotten to yet. But from just what I had played from the base game, which I had beat, and a lot of the mini games that I had played with other people, I think it kind of took the cake for me as like, okay, this is probably one of the games that I remember for 2023. It kind of struck me for sure at the very beginning of the year, maybe like September. I beat Neon White. The game is so fun. It's so fun and engaging. There's so much I think that's so well thought out about the game, just from like a mechanic standpoint. I like how it uses cards in order to like use abilities. It kind of gives it a little bit more flavor, and it doesn't just you're not just like using an ability. What the unique thing about the ability is that you can use it as a gun, and then if you discard the card, you use the ability. So there's like a lot of aspects that you can use with it. It kind of kept me engaged. The story is very forgettable. It's really not good. I thought it was nice and short and sweet. It's definitely maybe like a 5-10 hour game, but definitely had some more unique ideas. I definitely will be paying attention to that studio. I forget their name that worked on it, but they were really awesome. If they can get a story, not like a Tumblr fanfic, that would be sick. My first up for me being able to beat was Xenoblade Chronicles the Definitive Edition on the Switch. I think what makes Xenoblade so special is just the vast amount of ideas that were incorporated into the game. Keep in mind, I'm not like a huge JRPG fanatic. I like my fair share of JRPGs, but this had so much. Like there was so much to do. There were so many quests. I felt like it was never ending. And to some people that might be like kind of a negative, but to me anyway, it was like just straight up. It was awesome. There was so much in the game, and the story only heightened in my experience. Like they set out the characters were all laid out, and then it just starts spiraling out of control, and it becomes like just such an insane game. And the ending to it is like also amazing as well. The voice acting is also really strong. It was really funny. I don't know if they'll ever watch this, but there was a customer here that hated the voice acting in that game. I don't understand it, but it's okay. It's okay. I love you. It was just, I thought the voice acting was incredible, especially for a game that, came out like 10 years ago. A lot, you can go back to like videos where like the voice acting was, a lot of voice acting was really not good. So a lot of them didn't put a lot of effort into it. But Xenoblade for sure was definitely my top game, but being able to play it on a Switch, handheld, was awesome. So definitely, I hope this was a good enough top 3. Hope you guys enjoy it. But yeah, this was my top 3.
This is being filmed in front of a live audience. Yay! All right, Judy.
So these are the games that left a mark on me in 2023. There are 8. I'm going to mention 8 games quickly. Number 1, Space for the Unbound. I already talked about this in an experience share months ago, but it's an Indonesian slice of life game, pixel art, story heavy, it can be a bit heavy at times, but it's also a cute game about petted cats. So I really loved this game. It was my favorite indie game that came out last year. Everyone should play it. And pet all the cats. Diablo 4. I've always been a big Blizzard fan. I used to go to like every BlizzCon, so I was gonna play Diablo 4 no matter what. It was pretty fun. I played not Landslide, a Pulverize. I played a Pulverized Bear Druid. It was really fun. We played a bit with other people from the store too, so that was fun. Remnant 2 is something we're playing right now. Me and Marvel and Hiroshi have been playing Remnant 2, and there's like a ton going on in that game. So that's a Dark Souls with guns game, and it's like not the type of game I usually play, because I don't usually play first-person shooters, especially with thumbsticks, but I'm like acclimating to it. I'm rolling out of the way of like hazards and managing like your very little health and ammo reserves. So that's been like a fun new experience for me. Starfield. I danced in a club with a crazy outfit. Stray. Okay, so I was obsessed with Stray. Stray is the only game on Steam that I've ever completed 100% of all the achievements, including the hidden achievements. I loved that game. There's just something about being a cat, and then also the like exact aesthetic of the cyberpunk sort of the robots and the like kind of high tech, but also kind of run down. Neon lights. I just loved being in that world. I loved this game. And I'm talking about it because I played it this year only, even though I know it came out last year. Another game I played a ton is Satisfactory, which is an early access. And Factorio is my 7th game. I have it in parentheses in my notes. I love factory games like Factorio and Satisfactory. Factorio is a 2D top-down conveyor belt sim. Satisfactory is a 3D open world conveyor belt sim. So they just did Holiday. This was my first year playing it. So they've done the holiday event in years past, but this was my first year participating in the holiday event. It was very silly. You could make a giant Christmas tree, and it was pretty cute. So that was 6 and 7. And finally, I do have to give a shout out to World of Warcraft Hardcore. I have a friend who chose to have his birthday party be a 1 day only marathon of WoW Hardcore. And we died to Murlocs. But it was so fun. We subscribed to the idea that like, if you're gonna do something, do it really hard, but only for 1 day, and then stop. So we all like made a pact that we were not gonna continue playing. We were subbing for only 1 month, but we were never gonna log in again after that day, and we all kept to it because we all played World of Warcraft together a lot.
Former WoW addict.
Yes.
I say that as a former WoW addict behind the camera as well.
Yeah, I even played Classic. Like, I was really into Classic during the pandemic. But yeah, WoW Hardcore, surprisingly fun. Like, high stakes, everything, like, the adrenaline is going, and it was just, like, so much fun to... And every piece of linen that you got was, like, meaningful, and I brought it to, like, town and, like, asked around for, like, people who were leveling tailoring, and, like, exchanged it for free bags, and then, like, every, like, new bag slot being filled is a huge upgrade. So yeah. Games! Those are my 8 games.
Are there any games coming in 2024 that you're pretty excited for?
Princess Peach Showtime! I can't wait for that. Also Final Fantasy VII.
Of course. Of course. When does that come out? Summer?
March or May.
Oh, March or May.
Month.
Alright, thanks, Judy.
My top games for 2023 that I played. First one that I can think of right now is Pokemon Scarlet and Violet, and that includes the Hidden Treasure of Area Zero DLC. And it was definitely a lot of fun to play. It also introduced me in a big way to the Pokemon series in general. It's all open world, so it was lots of fun running around and seeing all the Pokemon in the field. 3 storylines were great, including the DLC storylines, and especially part 2 of the DLC is set in Unova, the Unova region. So lots of Gen 5 references also in that part of the game. So it was pretty cool. Another game that I played was Trine. I'm currently still playing Trine 4 with a couple friends, and but I did also play the first Trine, and it's a fun puzzle platformer, and it follows 3 main characters. There's a thief, a knight, and a wizard, and then you go around usually just solving all sorts of puzzles, and the 3 characters have different strengths, and it's lots of fun. And then my third game, Smash Brothers Ultimate, or Smash Ultimate, and the new part for me was that I got all the DLC characters recently, and I started playing them. And then there's one DLC character in particular, Pyramithra, that got me introduced into the Xenoblade Chronicles series. and I haven't had a chance to play them yet. Voice actors who actually have played through streams, like the voice actor for Noah, Harry McIntyre. He played through Xenoblade Chronicles 3, and then I also found out that Sky Bennett, who voices Pyra and Mithra, has also played and streamed Xenoblade Chronicles 2. So that was pretty cool to see all that. And yeah, kind of like the wacky world of a Smash, right? Introducing people to games that may not have heard of otherwise. So that was pretty cool.
Games!